Hello, everyone. I'm starting just a tad bit early here. As you can see, I have well, some of you may know that this is not my regular location. I'm actually in St. Louis visiting with my boyfriend's family. So I'm using one of their rooms, but I have my tarot cloth and my cards with me, so it feels like home. I hope you guys have all had a wonderful December. For those of you that I haven't been in touch with, I hope you're doing well and staying healthy. I've prepared a reading for you today using the cycles of the moon spread, which I found in a book by Lucy Cavendish. She's the author of one of my oracle decks, the Oracle of the Mermaid. So I'm not going to be using that deck today. I'm going to be using the Taramuka and also the Wisdom of the Hidden Realms Oracle. So let's see if anyone jumps on. If you do jump on, just say hello in the chat area so I know that you're there. This will also be posted so you can watch it later on Patreon. So it is 11 o'clock here. It will be 12 on the Eastern time and 9 a.m. on Pacific time. So it's early for you if you're on Pacific time, and it is just about mid-morning here in the central United States, and it is lunchtime over on the East Coast. So if you are tuning in, welcome, and if you're watching this later, that's perfectly fine. I understand this isn't the most convenient time for some of you, but just to let you know, so we just had a new moon in Capricorn on the 29th, which was 2 days ago. Capricorn is an earth sign. It's a very stable, hardworking sign. And so we're going to be looking at this new moon and really what will be coming to us in this new cycle, with this beginning with this new moon in Capricorn, right? So we want to know the quality of this new cycle. What can we focus our intentions on, and what will be initiated or created with this new moon in Capricorn, leading us into the new year. Some of you may know 2016, let's see, I wrote it down here, 2016 is a number 9 year. And so what do we know about the number 9 in the tarot? Well, it is the end of a cycle. And we're going into 2017, which is a 10 year, or reduces to a 1. So we are finishing that cycle and beginning a new journey. A lot of us will have new beginnings in 2017 for lots of things: our families, our personal lives, our work, our career, our love. So I have been getting some really positive messages just from Spirit and from ominous messages that I've been picking up. I feel very good about this new year. I've been doing some new moon readings, new year readings for people, and it's going to be a gentler year, I think, for a lot of us. It's going to be a much kinder year. 2016 was very difficult. We've been in a cycle of purging and releasing constantly with all the eclipses in this past year. So I just am feeling very optimistic and happy about going into 2017. I hope that you are too. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna see what happens when I shut the camera down here. So I have the card set up in a circle. And these are just notes for me. But I'm going to be beginning with the card at the bottom here, which represents our new moon in Capricorn, which we just had on December 29th. And we'll talk about the waxing moon on January the 5th. This is really just a continuing of this energy. It talks about new growth and continued action, and what to expect as sort of this energy grows for us going into January. Then we're going to talk about this very interesting full moon in the third decan of Cancer, which is going to be, so what I hear, an emotional and difficult energy for some of us. It is in the water sign of Cancer. I did post a link for those of you that are interested in the chat area. There's 2 links there. The first link is for the new moon in Capricorn, and the second talks about the full moon in Cancer. Both are from different astrology sites. One is Forever Conscious, which I really love her. Tanaz, she has a beautiful way of writing about astrology. And the second one is for Dark Star Astrology. And they have a nice little write-up about the, albeit dramatic, about the full moon in Cancer, which we're going to have on January the 12th. So if you want to make a note of that on your calendars or wherever you keep your notes about these sort of things. Then we're going to move into the waning moon. We'll talk about that on January the 19th. What I want to say about the waning moon. It's the energy of that is withdrawing or pulling away from us. So it's really talking about what's going to be leaving or diminishing. This is the influence that is fading out of our lives. And then we go into the dark moon on January 28th. And this is what we are really, this is really the heart of the issue. It's really the core of this reading is all about. It's what we need to release so that we can move forward into a new cycle. This may include things that are hard for us to admit, things that lie deep, deep inside of us, things that we have kept hidden, and what we're ready to bring out. Okay, so I've added a little touch here. I'm going to look at an overall theme or challenge for this new moon cycle, and I'll be pulling one oracle message from the Wisdom of the Hidden Realms Oracle. So if that sounds really good, let's go ahead and get started. And I'm asking Spirit, what will be coming to us with this new moon in Capricorn? What do we need to focus our intentions upon? What will be initiated or created with this new moon in Capricorn? I'm going to select one card for this position. Spirit, what will be initiated or created, or what has already been initiated or created for us with this new moon in Capricorn on December 29th? We're still feeling the effects of the new moon, but just want to get some clarification. What can we expect with this new moon in Capricorn? Okay, so I actually pulled a core card. So I have the Queen of Cups here. And she did come up reverse, but we can talk about why that may be. So this actually may represent your energy or the energy of someone in your life. I'm picking up a water sign, Pisces, Scorpio, or Cancer. And when she is reversed, you know, her focus is really on her emotions and something of an emotional issue here. So I really feel that this new moon in Capricorn is going to help us bring balance into our emotional lives. We do need grounding. It's going to be important for us to stay grounded emotionally during this time. And really, if we're talking about what to focus our intentions on, it could have to do with bringing our focus to our emotional bodies, but also because this can often represent a mother or the energy of someone who's very caring. The problem with the queen, this queen in reverse, is that she sometimes can be a little bit like an emotional sponge. So she'll pick up other people's energies and she'll sort of become involved in other people's problems. And by no fault of her own, she's really just a very empathic person. She's already has psychic abilities. I was just saying that, you know, with this new moon, it's important that we understand where our boundaries end and another person's begin. that we stay grounded emotionally, that we stay focused, on caring for ourselves, on nourishing ourselves emotionally. And this can go for both men and women. It doesn't just have to be for women. But this is a very feminine, receptive energy. And so for some of you, this new moon will bring up, kind of an imbalance in our emotions that can be difficult to deal with. We may find ourselves kind of on a roller coaster emotionally this month, going into January. This quality of this new cycle is going to be emotional. That's one of the things that I'm picking up already. Especially with the full moon in Cancer coming. It's just going to be important for us to remember to put the energy back in ourselves. What is it that we need in order to stay grounded, in order to stay focused, right? So I'm going to move into the next phase of the moon, which is the waxing moon. We will have the waxing moon around January the 5th. Okay. And the waxing moon, like I said, talks about new growth, continued action, and results that will come about. How the growth will occur, we're going to look at that. What to expect as the project grows. If we're working on something that began with the new moon, remember the new moon is a great time to begin new projects. It's a great time to initiate things. So we're going to want to look at that. I'm asking Spirit for a guidance message here on what to expect around the waxing moon. What will be the continued action and results that come about? How will this growth occur, and what can we expect as this project grows? Okay, so I pulled the Seven of Pentacles, which is very nice, and we have this earth energy here from the Capricorn new moon. And I really feel that on the waxing moon, on around the waxing moon, which is January the 5th, just coming up, while Mercury will still be retrograde, this is a great time for us to pause and reflect and to see how far we've come. We also see a man here who is harvesting the fruits of his efforts from his labors. He's been hard at work here. And so this continued growth talks about just keep doing what you're doing. This is a great time to wrap up your projects that you've been working on, and to, I almost feel like he's ready to bring these pentacles in for the harvest. So this is sort of, you can start to reap the rewards from your past efforts. It does talk about diligence and patience as well. Also, if we're making a pros and cons list about something, this is a great time to kind of make that pros and cons list and to really figure out what projects are paying off for us, which ones are not. Where can we focus our energy so that it's sustained and successful? If there's something that hasn't been working out for you, what do you need to do in order to either move that project forward or, put it off for another time, or even kill the project and make room for something else? So in that sense, it's a time to pause and reflect and see how far we've come and what more we need to do. And sevens are a beautiful number as well, and a spiritual number. So from a spiritual perspective, this is a great time for reflection and for positive thinking and reinforcing all the good things that you've done this year, all the wonderful things that you are looking forward to accomplishing. One thing you could do is you could take a jar out, and you can every week write down something that you are looking forward to accomplishing in the new year. and put that in your jar. And that way, when you start the following year, you can open up that jar and see how many things that you really were able to accomplish. And if not, what are some of the things that you no longer want to do, continue doing, etc. So I really feel like this is about continued growth, but it is also about reaping the rewards of how far you've come. And some of you are going to receive even material advantages, monetary advantages at this time. So it's an auspicious card. It's a good card to get there. All right, so now we are moving into the full moon in Cancer. We are going to be experiencing this full moon on January the 12th, and it will be in the third decan of Cancer. So full moons normally talk about the height, what will be given the most energy. So really they are, think of it as like a fruit becoming ripe. Around the full moon, that is when that fruit is the most ripe. That is when your energy is most potent. That's why they say the crazies come out of the woodwork on the full moon. And I pulled two cards just popped out here. I will accept them. I have the Devil and the Ten of Wands. Okay, so let's talk about the first card. We have the Devil here. And this is, to me, a card about temptation, lust. It's a very powerful energy. And it can really talk about a destructive energy along with the Ten of Wands. Because here we, I think, are seeing something where this is something greater than us that can be affecting us. And this is something that is happening because of that. The Ten of Wands is a positive card, but it does talk about a little bit of overburdening ourselves. There can be resentments and things that we're holding on to. Now, with this sustained effort, it's going to be important for us to pare down and to let go. There may be a temptation for us to take a lot of burdens on our own, to try and do it all alone. And with the Devil here, it's also saying that the temptation is going to be very strong. We're going to have to face things that we're addictions that we feel powerless against. This can also represent, even overthinking things, overdoing it. So it's a very potent energy. And we do need to watch out for this Devil around the full moon, because he or she is going to be out there trying to menace with our lives, trying to find our weak spots. And for some of us, those weak spots have to do with taking on too much, trying to do too much all at once, and therefore holding on to resentments, becoming resentful, even oppression from so much of this Devil in our lives. So it's going to be a good time to stay grounded. I always like to say that, stay grounded. Do not, try not to be led astray by this Devil, however it chooses to manifest in your life. And also, do try to keep things simple. You're going to want to eliminate toxic foods from your diet. You're going to want to eliminate taking on too many things. You may be at risk for overworking yourself, for example, taking on too many projects, trying to do too much all at once, trying to push forward no matter what. I almost get the sense here that there's a tendency to overindulge for some of us. And even to let our wildest passions, our animalistic desires take control. And almost drive us, you know, even then in the wrong direction. So we want to be careful. Temptations will be around us around this full moon in Cancer, and we do need to pay attention to how we are grounding ourselves and just pare down, trying to keep it simple. The best thing I could say is just stay neutral. If you can stay neutral in those areas, in your love life, in your in the physical world, staying neutral is probably the best thing you can do, even if it requires a little bit more exertion on your part to just stay grounded. Okay. Moving into the waning moon. So we're talking about the energy that is going to be withdrawing. This is that energy that is sucking and pulling away from us things. The influence that is diminishing is what is fading and is on its way out. All right, so Spirit, what do we need to know on this waning moon, which will be on or around the January the 19th, depending on where you are in the world? And what do we need to know about this waning moon in January, or January the 19th? This is going to be on its way out. The influence that will be leaving us, the energy that is withdrawing from us. Okay, we have the Five of Swords. Okay, so what do we know about this card? Yes, this card is a victory. We see the man has all the swords here, right? Well, we see two people walking away. So we know there's a battle that has taken place. There's a winner and there is a loser. Most likely, if this card has come to you, you are likely the winner of some battle here, but it may not have been a healthy one, and it may not have really mattered at the end of the day who wins or who loses. So in that sense, this is a card about strife and hollow victories. And this is a tough influence, but it is one that will be leaving us on the waning moon on January the 19th. So we really need to let go of any battles or entanglements that we found ourselves in, because they really haven't been serving us. They haven't been the healthiest, and likely they've left us or someone else hurt. So this card also talks about walking away from those things that really, at the end of the day, that's saying, choose your battles. This is all about that. And most likely, if there's something, a tiff or a tit for tat that you've been involved in, this is something that you are going to need to be letting go of and are going to need to walk away from, or probably going to want to walk away from. Let go of that. Okay, it's what it's saying. Let go of that energy, that need to compete, that need to win, that need to be right. Let go of that, because it isn't really it isn't fulfilling our highest good. It isn't our higher energy, our higher energy bodies aren't even responding to that. So this is a purely mental and intellectual energy, but it is one that is cruel and can be hurtful. So we need to let go of that around the waning moon. Okay, so this will be around the middle of January, most likely. Towards going into the end of January, you're going to want to let go of that energy and bring in more positive energies. Try and focus on something else that has to do with your personal growth. Okay. And going into the dark moon, we're talking about really what is the heart of the issue. This is the core of this reading, really. And this is also what may be hard for us to admit during this cycle. Something that lies deep, deep inside of us, something we've kept hidden for a long time. What is it that we're ready to bring out? What is it that we need to examine more deeply before we move forward into a new cycle? Okay, so Spirit, please show me what lies deep, deep inside. What have we kept hidden? What are we ready to bring out? Okay, this card flip over. We have the Seven of Wands. This card fell out, so I'm going to accept it. So that's very interesting. We actually have two sevens in the reading, Seven of Pentacles with the waxing moon and Seven of Wands with the dark moon. And the Seven of Wands is something that we are willing to fight for, something that we feel compelled to stand up about, something that is very dear to us. It can represent something that we feel is challenging us. It could be that there's someone that is challenging us. But this is a card about standing up for what is it that you are willing to fight for? What is it that you are willing to, essentially, yeah, what is it that you would die for, really? What is it that you're willing to fight for? Uh-oh, my battery is running low here. Okay, that's fine. We have 12% left. So, again, this is something that we may have kept hidden for a long time. What are we ready to tell people? What are we ready to bring out in this new cycle starting in February? And something that we need to go within and examine deeply before we can move forward. So it could be that also some of us have been very defensive. Some of us have had our guard up and have been literally struggling. And that may be hard for us to admit as well. But I overall see this as a very positive card. And I feel that perhaps it's more subtle. So sorry about that, guys. I'm hoping that I didn't lose the entire broadcast session here. My laptop just died and I needed to plug it back in. I am so sorry. I'm working on a different computer today, but hopefully I can just start where I left off. I was talking about the Seven of Wands here. And to me, this is all about getting to that higher ground so that you can look over, your opposition, all the things that you've been sort of standing up against, and it is a card of victory in that sense. I'm actually going to just take a look at the Tarot Muka here and see if they can offer a different interpretation. I really do love this card. So mostly they have definitions here for the major arcana, but Sevens are a spiritual number, I believe. Okay. Let's see. Here we have the wands energy. I believe we're in wands. Staves. So they call these staves. Beset by foes, a young man stands in a posture of courageous confidence. Though he is outnumbered, he still has the upper ground, literally and symbolically. His power comes from the belief that he can achieve whatever he sets his will to accomplish. He knows he's at the peak of his strength and prowess, and he welcomes the challenge to prove himself. Even against such odds, his confidence shines. Key ideas: courage in facing challenges, standing your ground, confidence attained through experience. Talk about things that we're ready to bring out, things that were hard to admit. I really feel like this is a positive message saying that you have the experiences behind you. You've been through so much, and you know deep down that you have the courage to get through pretty much anything. You alone can do this. You can do this. It may be difficult for you to admit that you have the courage to get through this new year, this new cycle, but this is strength gained from experience. And this right here is someone who is willing to fight for what they believe in because they believe they can win. They believe that they have it inside them and they have those experiences. So that is a beautiful card to conclude this new moon reading. I would also like to wrap it up by pulling one oracle message. And this message is going to focus on the overall theme or challenge of this new moon cycle. If there's a message that Spirit you'd like to bring to us, for those of my listeners out there that are watching, what is one message that they need to hear as the overall theme or challenge for this new moon cycle? We have the Lady of the Mirror, reflection and non-judgment. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can stand this up for you guys here. And here we have a lovely woman. She is sitting on a rock here. She almost has like fairy wings, but she's sort of contemplating something by the water. Not too dissimilar from Our Lady of the Mirror, who came up reversed, the Queen of Cups. And what does reflection and non-judgment mean for this cycle? What is it that we can learn as an overall theme or challenge? Okay, that is card 44. And what is actually interesting to me is that this is the last card in this deck. There's no more pages after this other than the about the author. So we've come to a very important place here. It says the Lady of the Mirror is both ally and challenger, asking you to see yourself in the mirror made by the events in your life. She represents the powerful force of the law of attraction and reminds you that what you are is what you attract. This isn't to say that you need to blame yourself for inviting transgressions, or if you find yourself a victim of a big picture event, say a war. This is a distorted interpretation of this law. Certain events are fated to test our faith. Rather, find yourself within the web woven through your life, your relationships, opportunities, desires, seeming failures, and successes. Observe how you've responded to life's challenges, great and small, and be aware of what is familiar in the present. Release all judgment and accept things exactly as they are, with love. The Lady of the Mirror asks that you honor every part of your story as essential to your highest unfolding. Can you see yourself as being exactly where you need to be on your path? Do you love what you see in the mirror? Can you perceive your part in your reactions and the motives behind your current inquiry? You will find your answer in a thorough and honest self-appraisal. Interesting. I really feel like there is a lot of honesty in this card, but also perspective. She says, find yourself within the web woven through your life, all of your relationships, opportunities, desires, and failures and successes. Observe how you responded to life's challenges, great and small, and be aware of what is familiar in the present. It's time to release judgment and accept things exactly as they are with love. It's about honoring your story as essential to your highest unfolding. I love this. Can you see yourself as being exactly where you need to be on your path? It's about loving what you see in the mirror and acceptance. It's about love and acceptance. So where we start off with this new moon is perhaps being a little bit on this emotional roller coaster here. We see that with our diligence and hard work, we've come a long ways. We've reaped the rewards, and we're now waiting to see what more we can do. Yes, we meet some temptations along the way. Yes, we feel oppressed at times with the heavy burdens and duties and responsibilities. But we now know that we need to stay grounded and neutral at the full moon. As we move into the waning moon, we realize that we have to let go of these petty grievances, these battles, and these fights that we've entangled ourselves into. We can't have this attitude going into the new cycle or into the new year. It's time to let go of that Five of Swords energy. And going to the dark moon, we realize that we have all of these experiences. They've made us who we are. We can be courageous moving forward, knowing that we have all of that strength inside of us to fight for what it is we believe in, to stand up for what we believe in, and to accept ourselves just the way that we are with love. And that, friends, concludes this new moon reading in Capricorn. I want to thank you so much for joining me, and I apologize for the technical difficulty there at the end. Sending you love and light, and Happy New Year.